Can you introduce me as Joker?
You asked for Mike as the Joker, and you will get Mike as a Joker. That was just his audio, the full face reveal and so on and so forth. The full CGI, let's say, will be happening a little bit later in the video. Also, Mike will be discussing his thoughts on what he says is his favourite West Ham subject at the moment, the fullback situation. That's coming up in this video, Mike's thoughts on that. I haven't watched it, and for a good reason as well, because I don't want what Mike thinks about the fullbacks to influence what I've got to say about them, and I think I'd also be mindful that I was going to repeat what he was going to say. So I may well do. Maybe we're completely aligned. The first thing that springs to mind in terms of the fullbacks, and when I say the fullbacks, I ideally like to talk about Masuaku and Cresswell. So really, when I say fullbacks, I'm talking about left backs here. I just think what utter nonsense it was to put them both on long-term contracts, 4 or 5 year contracts on high wages. Now, I know nobody could foresee that football was going to have, in essence, a financial meltdown. That I understand. But even without the lockdown, even without the COVID-19, I think it was a stupid thing to do. Because I understand if you've got a player that you want to protect, that the vultures are going to be circling around, and we can use Declan Rice as an example, it's prudent to tie them down to a long-term contract. We don't want people come in and pinching Declan Rice. If they turn around, we want to say, well, hold on a second, he's got 4-year contract, he's got 2-year option on it. You want him, you're going to have to pay the very top money. I just don't think the vultures were circling. I don't even think sparrows were circling. I think there was no wildlife circling Masuaku or Aaron Cresswell. We didn't have to keep the vultures away. They weren't. Look, let's be fair. Liverpool weren't coming for either one of those as Andy Robertson's understudy or replacement, were they? Let's be completely fair about it here. And what he has done, I mean, both financially and in terms of squad numbers, it's hindered us financially because we can't get rid of them because they're too high paid on 2 long contracts. I might be wrong. Hopefully I am. Maybe someone comes and signs one of them. But it's not, neither of whom are attractive enough for a club to warrant coming in and paying money for them. So we're stuck with them. And what's that mean for us to get in a left back? I mean, I noticed that Anthony Robinson as who's he signed for? He signed for Fulham, I think. I understand why we didn't sign him, because I don't think he'd walk into our first team. And actually, we'd still then need a left back, and we could find ourselves sort of 4 left backs. Anyone that we sign has got to be significantly better than Masuaku or Cresswell. Otherwise, there's just no point playing a numbers game. We've already got it. In terms of the players themselves, I think Cresswell's lost that sparkle. I like Cresswell. I do think Cresswell has been a good servant to the club. He was a good. You have to say Cresswell was a good signing, but I just don't think he's got what we need anymore.
Can you introduce me as Joker? I'm here to take over Gotham City.
I would understand out of 2 that probably Moyes would like to retain him, because when Moyes plays 3 at the back, he sometimes likes to play Cresswell as a left centre-back. So maybe he has a little bit more to offer in Moyes' eyes than Masuaku does. Masuaku must be a very, very frustrating player for anybody that sort of worked with him. Possibly anybody that saw him in youth teams and for youth football. He's very, very skillful. I bet people look at him for, well, he can do what he wants in the game. I don't ever get the impression that he feels like he wants to apply himself. I don't think he has the work ethic of, well, look at the big boys that did the business towards the end of the season. Declan Rice, Antonio, Souček, Bowen, or Bonner. He's not got that same. It's probably not laziness, because you'd probably look and see that he covers a lot of ground, but I think it's commitment. I'm not sure he's fully committed to the cause. I think he loses his concentration in defensive situations, and for that reason, he's just not an adequate left back for us. Maybe as a wing back, he's okay, but I don't want Moyes to play that 3 at the back formation. People say use him as a winger. Well, yeah, I guess he can, but would you want that? Would you want to find out actually next season he was starting on the left wing ahead of anyone else, ahead of Antonio or ahead of Diangana or someone like that? No, I don't think we want to see that. Cresswell, I don't think it's concentration. I think it's ability. I just think positionally he finds himself wanting a little bit, but not as bad as Masuaku in that sense. But he's not very quick. I think he's got desire. There's nothing wrong with Cresswell's work rate or anything like that. I just think it's easy enough for wingers to get the better of him, because he ain't as good as he used to be. Maybe the standard of wingers is improved. I don't know. I'm not just talking about Adama Traore here, who's got to be a nightmare for anybody to mark, by the way. I just think he just ain't got it anymore. I'm sorry to say that, and I don't mean it's game over for him, and he couldn't have a career elsewhere. I think he could. I think he could go play a lot of different places, but he ain't going to because he's on a whopping great contract at West Ham. And I've got to be honest with you, I think he would stay. And we know Aaron Cresswell's mindset. Aaron Cresswell was perhaps one of the most vocal players during lockdown, because he was saying he was scared. He was scared for his family. He had a young daughter, and you could just tell he's very, very family orientated. Nothing wrong with that at all. Full marks for that. But if what you are was worried about your family and your family's future and the present and so on and so forth, you're not going to tear up a contract that's earning you millions each year. Why would you? And I don't blame him for doing so. This one's on the club, I'm afraid. I don't blame Masuaku and I don't blame Cresswell for signing them. For me, a contract like that, I'd sign it quite clearly. They were both the wrong side of 26 or whatever the case may be, to be signing those whopping great long-term contracts. I'm not sure who saw what in Masuaku to thought, yeah, we need to really need to see off the vultures here. We got the sharks are circling. Vultures, sharks, sparrows. You get all the nature stuff in here. Bad moves. Let's hope we can get it sorted. Fredericks, I haven't really touched on it that much. Fredericks, it might be a little bit easier to sort because he was free. But he's still on 50 grand a week. But we won't feel quite so bad as taking a pinch on that. And he's young. And I think someone would look at Fredericks and think, that boy can fit in my team because he is rapidly quick. There you go. Those are my thoughts on the fullback. Anyway, let's find out what Mike thinks about West Ham's fullbacks. Mike.
Thanks, Gonzo. Hi campers. Now, I don't know if you saw the last Tactics Centre show in which Tactics Centre Mike explained that the reason that West Ham only had 4 teams, the 4 teams immediately below West Ham had a worse defence than West Ham, is because teams were going down the side. I mean, let's face it, Anzo Bonner very nearly won the Hammer of the Year award, his central defender, and a Hammer of the Year award was won by a defensive midfielder in Declan Rice. So through the centre were reasonably solid, but other teams know, and you only have to watch, say, Wolves against us last season to go down the wings, and you're going to get great joy and get to the West Ham backline and score goals against us. Now, it's one thing for us West Ham fans to look at that and go, that's what's going on. But for this video, as we're talking about the left back position, I thought I'd get some figures for you. Now, statistics. I understand you can use statistics to, prove that an elephant is a giraffe. There's nothing you can't prove that's completely false with statistics. But I thought I'd give it a shot. This isn't TIFO. Hammer's Chat is way sexier. But let's have a look at what we can find about our left backs, statistically speaking. Now, last season, Aaron Cresswell let's have a look. Aaron Cresswell made 31 appearances. He managed 3 goals. Not bad for a fullback, but only 1 assist. Now, here's the interesting stuff, right? He got 60%. He got a 60% tackle success rate. For tackles, he was 38th best out of all the defenders in the Premier League. Not just fullbacks, but the statistic I could find was just all defenders in the Premier League, but still 38th. Duels won, 116 duels lost, 111, which gives us a +5 on him. So in total, in summary, assists none, big chances created 4, which is actually quite reasonable, goals 3, which is near miraculous. So that was last season. It's worth pointing out, though, that in the last 2 seasons, Aaron Cresswell has managed 1 assist. Now, Moyes, when he was at Everton, loved attacking fullbacks and fullbacks to get crosses in, etc., etc. 1 assist in 2 seasons is not great. How does that compare to Arthur Masuaku? It's quite hard to say because he only made 17 appearances last season, with a tackle success rate of 56%, which is weaker. Duels won 89, duels lost 76, actually plus 13, which is a little bit better. Let's see what he managed. No goals, 1 assist. So let's look at the season previously. We made 23 appearances. It's a slightly better metric for him. Right, now, most of us as West Ham fans would view Cresswell as being slightly better, solid, a bit more solid anyway, defensively than Masuaku, who we view as an attacking fullback who gets forward, makes crosses, etc. Let's have a look at 18-19 season where he made 23 appearances. His tackle success rate was 44%. Let's remember Cresswell's was 60. I know it's seen before, but it's just because he made 23 appearances, a better metric. Duels won 119, duels lost 102. That's a plus 17, slightly better. Remember, we view him as an attacking fullback. Assists 1. Goals 0, big chances created 0. Tackle success rate 44%. So he can't defend and he can't actually produce anything up front either. So what does Masuaku actually do? And what does any of this mean? Ultimately, I'm just spewing facts at you. It's hard without someone to compare it to. And I looked at other left backs we could do. I looked at Henry Rico at Bournemouth. He's got significantly better stats than both of them. I looked at Ryan Bertrand. You can imagine he's got better stats than both of them. I was trying to look at comparative fullbacks. But ultimately, we don't watch them week in, week out. We can't hold an opinion to hold the stats against. So I compared them to our right back, Ryan Fredericks. Now, in the 1920 season, last season, Ryan Fredericks made 27 appearances. His tackle success rate was 68%, which is way better than both of them. Duels won 149, duels lost 116. That's a plus 33 ratio. That's infinitely better than both Masuaku and Cresswell. Beat this. Assists 3. Big chances created 3. So even in attacking metrics, and he didn't score, okay, fair enough. But even in attacking matrix or metrics, he was infinitely better. Now, ask yourself this question. Is Ryan Fredericks a really good defender? No. In my opinion, it is all about opinions at the end of the day. Ryan Fredericks is not up to the job of playing the Premier League for West Ham. He's not awful, but he's not very good either. But stats say he's infinitely better than Masuaku and Cresswell. So we have a big, big problem. Ultimately, unless we do something about that left-back position with a new player or players in, for the next season we will be facing another horrendous season fighting against relegation. Preferably I'd see a right-back as well. But as we're talking about left-backs, let's just stay there for this show. We need to improve the staff. Back to Gonzo in the Hammers Chat Den.